The Home Builders Association of Greater New Orleans has promoted, protected, and advanced the construction industry since 1941. They provide services for over 1,000 firms with exclusive benefits, networking events, education, advocacy, and government representation in Greater New Orleans. And joining me now to further discuss the works of this organization is the Life Director for the Home Builders Association, Mr. Randy Noel. Welcome back to Affordable Housing Matters. It's always nice to have you here.
Thank you, Norman.
So what is this bit about the Life Director?
It just means I was around a long time. So if you've been there 20 years, they give you this life directorship. And actually at the National Association, I'm a senior life director.
Oh my goodness, well, I can relate to both of those. You know, what is this I'm hearing about the dangers associated with HVAC refrigerants? Refrigerants, easy for me to say.
So about a year ago, I was listening to a National Association of Home Builders Subcommittee, and they started talking about the new Freon.
Yeah.
They like to change the Freon a lot. And it was going to protect 80% better than the current Freon for the ozone layer and, you know, save the planet, et cetera. And then the lady said, but we got to ventilate it because it's highly flammable and explosive. I said,
oh no.
So I thought, okay, surely they won't enact that. Well, the EPA, January 1st, put this in place. So I went to do some research and I pulled up the manufacturer safety data sheet. This is what manufacturers do to protect them.
Yes.
Right? And I'm reading the manufacturer safety data sheet and it says it's highly flammable and could be explosive. And I'm thinking, we're putting this in our houses? What is on the EPA's mind? So we did a little research and we started talking to the agencies that, an association that have to do with refrigerant, and they're telling us, oh, it's not that big a deal, it's in the cars.
It's not that big a deal?
Yeah, they use it in Europe, and you know, you need a lot of it for it to ignite, and et cetera, et cetera. And I just kept asking, I said, okay, well, all that sounds great, but why does this safety data sheet say otherwise? Then they tell us, in the equipment inside the house, you know, that's the blower, the heater, et cetera. Well, the Freon line goes to the compressor outside and comes back to that unit inside. They are putting sensors on those units to detect if this leaks, to cut the system off.
So they know that this stuff is dangerous.
So I said, okay, well, why are you doing that if this stuff can't hurt you? And the problem with that, Norman, is when we get leaks as home builders, it's usually not by the unit. It's by the wall where it goes out of the house. And there's no sensor for that. So I brought this to the attention of the National Association of Home Builders. I said, look, you know, if you're going to make us use this stuff, don't blame us when it doesn't work. I can't believe the EPA, first of all, is making us use this stuff. You know, why don't you research it till you can find out where it's not going to be highly flammable. Now, they told the Congress, who was celebrating the adoption of using this Freon, A2L, that it was lightly flammable. And lightly flammable. And then I sent this to Senator Cassidy and Senator Kennedy when they were putting it on Facebook, congratulate them for voting to do it. I said, look at this safety data sheet.
I'm looking at it here.
What did they tell you? I said, it plainly says highly flammable and explosive. I said, so anyway, we're trying to get the EPA to delay the adoption of it.
So what was the reaction of our congressional delegation when you showed them, when you took this data? It plainly says here, hazardous statement, H220, extremely flammable gas, H280, contains gas under pressure, may explode if heated.
So completely dark. And I know what's happening is all these agencies that were promoting this, the manufacturers, et cetera, they're telling them, you got to have so much of this stuff to explode or ignite. It's not that big a deal. They use it in the cars. They use it in Europe. It's not that big a deal. And I just kept saying, seems like a big deal to me.
So again here, this is a situation of dollars over safety.
Actually, I think it's saved the planet over safety.
Really?
Yeah, because it's going to...
How so?
So this Freon is 80% less damaging to the ozone layer than what we're using. That was the motivation to put it in place.
Okay.
All right, but I don't know why they didn't just wait till they found something that wasn't highly flammable or explosive.
So my question to you then is there some consumer safety or consumer advocacy organization that you can align yourself with to fight this?
Well, the National Association of Home Builders has a resolution to support delaying it or holding harmless the air conditioner man, the builders, the code inspectors, if something were to happen, and hold the manufacturers responsible.
So what's the likelihood that they will take the easy way out, just hold the construction part of this whole thing?
Well, that's it. At the end of the day, that's who gets blamed. Look at lead paint. Look at asbestos. The manufacturer needs to be responsible for this stuff, whether it's safe or not. They're starting to talk to us about ventilating the houses just in case, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking, this.
So, are you optimistic or pessimistic about a positive outcome here?
Well, as I researched it, it looks like there's other manufacturers coming out with products that are not highly flammable and explosive. They're just not on the market yet.
Well, thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome.
I mean, we are as consumers, especially in the housing community, facing some drastic challenges. Not only this with the HVAC refrigerant, but also catastrophic home insurance. I mean,
well, we're watching Citizen quote people $20,000 up from $3,000 on their homes. They're going to lose their homes because they can't afford the escrows on the insurance. This is a huge problem. Then you have the flood insurance program that, with risk rating 2.0, is astronomically raising our rates here in Louisiana.
Yeah, our flood insurance just went up.
You put those, and if you already got a flood insurance, you're only going up 18% a year.
Yeah.
But if you get a new house or new policy, it's immediately that number that's on there, which people were in the X zone, for example, not special flood hazard area, we're paying $600 a year. They're getting their quotes at $3,400 a year now, outside the special flood hazard area. It's $300 a month. And then you get your property insurance on top of that, and you could be paying almost $1,000 a month in escrows for insurance. So this whole thing, and then I just lived through Ida.
Yeah.
I had a great deal of damage at my house, and had a lot of people I built houses for that got damaged. Adjusters couldn't get on site for almost 3 months. Adjustments came out. They weren't capable of getting houses fixed at those numbers. They had to hire somebody to either the contractor, the public adjuster, or even an attorney to fight with the insurance company to get those adjustments up. Finally got the adjustments up. Finally start the work. All the money goes to a mortgage company. Then you got to wait for the mortgage company to send the money to pay the contractor, which will stop the work. It was taking 18 months to get people back in their houses. It's just systems are broken.
So, as director of the life director for the Home Builders Association, what are people to do?
Well, here's what I think. And first of all, we'll always fight this flood insurance issue because we're the tip of the spear,
yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. We need a national catastrophic fund. We got wildfires in the West. We got earthquakes. We got blizzards. We got flooding in Colorado Springs, West Virginia. Look at California recently. Look at the snow loads in California. The catastrophes seem to be accelerating and being worse and worse. Now, whether that's attributable to climate change or not, I don't know. But
we just know that the reality is that it does exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the reinsurance companies who back all these insurance companies up are raising their rates because they're getting hit so hard with all these catastrophes. Well, I think if we take a little bit of money from everybody that got like a federally backed mortgage, and anybody else that doesn't want to participate, put it in a fund. We have 50 million federally backed mortgages in America.
50 million.
50 million. $35 a month from that 50 million is $22 billion a year. Now we do away with the flood insurance program.
Okay.
The National Catastrophic Fund becomes the backstop to the property insurance companies in each of the states that continue to be governed by their commissions of insurance, etc. But when we get these huge catastrophes, this National Catastrophic Fund kicks in.
Now, this has been kicked around before, as I recall, and it went nowhere. What makes you think that it might have legs this time?
If climate change is legitimate, and these catastrophes are accelerating and are more damaging than they have been in the past, and we've got, you look at Alabama and Mississippi last week.
Yeah. Oh my God! When I think about what happened in Mississippi, it's unfathomable.
Yeah. But that's the kind of disasters we're seeing all over the country. We need to prepare our country to answer and be able to get disaster relief to our victims faster than we're doing it. This is ridiculous. 18 months to put people back in the house.
You know, I get the sense that you think that we have a system that's broken.
Oh yeah,
it's fundamentally broken.
Absolutely. It's I mean, at Katrina. We fixed a lot of things since Katrina. Katrina was a complete disaster.
Yes.
All the way across all levels of government. We're a lot better than we were then, but we're still not getting the relief back to the victims that need the money. You look at the flood in Baton Rouge, those people are still waiting on money.
Yeah.
We need to redo this whole system.
And in talking about redoing things, perhaps we need to redo the way we restructure the way we construct our buildings.
Well, I'll tell you, we after Katrina, we adopted a statewide uniform enforced building code and had it up and running in 2 years. The insurance companies came back because they were celebrating we did that, because we had nothing before that. I mean, some municipalities had building codes, but it was nowhere near as robust.
Does that include retrofitting for the roof?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. January 1st this year, the code that went into effect seals the roofs.
Wow.
The biggest claims that we had was the shingles came off the roofs, and I'm telling you, everybody that had a 1 year to 5 year roof did pretty well. 5 year to 10 year, lose some shingles. Over 10 years, people were losing whole sides of the houses of shingles.
Oh my goodness.
Because our shingles really don't last 15 years in South Louisiana.
They just say they do, right?
Right, nobody changes them because they think they got a 30-year shingle. But when it did, between each piece of decking, there's this little device. It's called the ply clip. And
That little device
puts a space between the decking like this. So when the felt paper and shingles are gone, the water pours in the house. The new code puts tape over that joint.
Wow.
Blocks it and doesn't let the water in the house. So now you don't lose your sealants.
That little device makes all the difference.
Well, now the tape that we're going to put on, which is in the code, will now keep that water from pouring in the house. Now, how about all these people after Ida that put new roofs on?
Yeah.
This code wasn't in effect. Now, in 10, 15 years, they'll have the same problem unless there's an organization called the Institute of Business and Home Safety. They have a program called Fortified Retrofit. They will actually come in and oversee a closed cell foam insulator, get in your attic and spray between these joints. And then he'll spray down the rafter to the top plate.
So that's something we could do now?
Do now.
Wow.
That will seal the water from coming in. Not only that, it helps hold the roof decking down, and it helps hold the roof onto the house if you don't have those clips.
Well, you have to come back so we can devote a whole show on that.
Oh, it's a great idea. And
Yeah,
trying to get the grant program that you're talking about to focus on that. Because as far as taping the roofs, re-roofs, and new roofs, we're going to be fine under the code.
Well, thank you. You have been a fount of information, as you always are.
Thank you, Norman. Thanks for giving me a chance.
We would again like to thank both of our guests for joining us on our program.